and welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, the only show right now on Indian television where you, the MSME, get sent a stage to voice your opinions and thoughts. This is ET Now's special daily initiative to give MSMEs and entrepreneurs the opportunity to be front and center on every industry and area that matters to you. Today on the show on Direct Connect, we bring you a panel of experts who are answering in all the questions that have been sent in to us on the Leaders of Tomorrow. And later tonight, we'll bring you the story of Mumbai co-working as well as Orange Lane. That's on a Small Giant segment. On our show today, we have Sushanto Mitra, founder and CEO of Lead Angels, as well as Ramanujam Narayan, founder of Contratra Universal. Both of them answering in the questions that have been sent in to us here on the show. Do stay tuned. At the end of the show, we'll tell you how you can also send in your questions. Ramanujam, Sushanto, thank you gentlemen both very much for being with us here tonight and talking really about all of the queries, all of the questions that have come in. You can write into us on Facebook, you can reach us on Twitter, you can also reach us on our email ID and a telephone number that we will leave you with at the end of the show if you have any questions for our experts. Let's kick today's show off with a question that's coming to us on our Facebook page. Leaders of Tomorrow on ET Now is where you can reach us. Venkata Chintaluri has written in to say that he's a design consultancy. He says his major challenge is lack of availability of technical manpower. He says he trains engineers for up to a year and a half to make them ready. He wants to know how he can get trained manpower but ensure that he doesn't end up spending both time and money, something that small entrepreneurs can clearly not afford. What would you gentlemen say?
It's a two-sided problem. When a student graduates from an engineering college, most employers will feel that he or she does not have the required skills. I think as a country we need to figure a solution to that is through training while they are there at the university itself, or having trainers who actually train the graduates before they join the workforce, because there are multiple studies done to say that almost 50% of graduates who come out of engineering graduates who come out from various colleges are unemployable. The best way to do it is to go to the colleges and train the people while they are studying on the particular skill sets that you are required, so that at least you don't have to pay their salaries while you're training them.
Okay, that's an interesting take.
There are 2-3 things what Venkat can do. First of all, there are many portals or websites like freelancer.com wherein he can get talented individuals at lower prices. It's a tried and tested model which we are also doing, and another way to tackle this problem is he can create a lot of online contents, so that every time when a particular employee joins, he doesn't have to go through that training phase 12 to 18 months, and every new individual who is joining the organization, he can give those contents, and through that there can be a lot of understanding which can be developed.
Okay, all right. So some very interesting suggestions coming in for you, Venkata. Do look at online training. Our next question is coming to us on email. Satish Sharma has written in to say he's a dealer of various products including mattresses, bags, trolley bags, etc. He says they're based in Delhi. Prices on goods, he says, is very high as compared to other cities. So people don't come to them. Instead, they prefer to go to other cities, which I presume he's talking about smaller cities, for the same product where they can buy it for less. He says, what should he be doing to avoid losing customers? Is this a viable option that, things like bags, trolleys, etc. are standardized across cities? It's not like, they're particular to a particular city, and therefore he has to price it so high.
This was primarily happening because of a lot of tax related aspects, right? Okay. In some cities the taxes were at a lower rate, some cities where some interstate sales were going through that CFOM route. So with the introduction of GST, I would like to go by our revenue secretary, lot of standardization is going to happen on the pricing front. So this problem will definitely get addressed with the introduction of GST is what I feel. As a different view.
No, absolutely right. But additionally, what is also possible is that in smaller cities, the volumes are low, but because of the other cost factors, people can still sell their goods at a cheaper price. Whereas in a large city, if you need to produce much more to be able to achieve that same level of profitability. So maybe he would look at increasing his scale of operations so as to bring down his overall cost rather than looking at other solutions.
All right, Satish, that's in response to the question you've sent in. Our next query is coming to us on social media. Paresh Patel has written in to say he's a leading manufacturing supplier of submersible pumps, open well pumps, submersible pump V6, etc. He says he's based in Rajkot. He's written in to us to ask our experts how they balance consistency so that he can create regular buyers for his products. He's a manufacturer. So how does the manufacturer need to ensure consistency, because that's his primary role? But if he's working with employees, training them, etc., to create this consistency, then what would you all have to say?
So I'm assuming it's more from the buyer loyalty side that he's talking about, and there are multiple ways that you can ensure that your buyers are loyal to you by perhaps giving them discounts for their subsequent purchases, or giving lower maintenance charges to them as they buy more and more machines from you.
Okay, sure.
It's a very niche segment what they are operating into. So as rightly pointed out, I would say after sales service and on-call service is going to be one of the important aspects as far as this particular industry is concerned.
Paresh, that's in response to your question, and Sushanta was talking about how you manage the demand that you get, the customers, and this is what our next question is. It's coming to us from Dinesh Khandelwal. He's written in to us on our email ID leadersoftomorrow@timesgroup.com to say we provide customized on-site IT support and technical support services to both large and small companies. His question tonight is how he can manage customer databases.
So there are a lot of free softwares which are available in the market where a lot of customer databases can be saved. There are a lot of softwares which is typically a CRM. There are good CRMs which we get at optimal prices, where there can be a revenue tracking mechanism, there can be deal pipelines, there can be revenues that are expected. A lot of tracking can be done, and that is the way customer databases should be managed.
Sure. Okay. So Dinesh, that's in response to your question. Let's take in another query. This is coming to us on Twitter. SV Chandrakumar has sent in this question saying they're the largest pest control service provider in the country. He says though that they have a lot of competition in the market, but most of them do not hold approved licenses, nor do they have any standard agreements. He's written in to us to ask our experts if they have any suggestions on how they should compete with their competitors, or at least make people aware of the benefits of their products. What would you have to say to him?
Absolutely. If his products are standardized and licensed, their quality should of the service and the product should be better, and that is something that the customer should communicate, that should be communicated to the customers. I think what they could actually do is talk about case studies where customers move from a non-licensed product and to a licensed product, and what were the benefits the customer perceive that, and that can be communicated to their prospective clients.
So focus on quality and not so much on the prices is your advice.
That's right.
Sure.
Yeah, licenses are going to play an important role, because the moment you say you are unregistered or you don't have a license, then with this introduction of GST and all these anomalies are going to get eliminated completely, because if you don't have a license, you're operating as an unregistered dealer and you will not get any benefits of GST or any benefits of other pricing aspects.
Okay, so the industry is definitely going to get regulated.
Absolutely,
with the introduction of GST. Thanks for sending in that question. We have time to fit in one last query tonight. Jayachandran Naidu has sent us this question on Twitter to say they're an organization offering consulting and training services in the process improvement in information security areas. He says skilled workers are very reluctant to work in small scale industries because the wages are low, and he says labor related problems therefore are high. What should he do is what he wants to know.
Typically in small scale organizations, you get a lot of exposure to several areas. So it depends on you whether if you want to become a small fish in a big ocean, or you want to become a big fish in a small pond. When you
hire the right kind of employees who would be interested in.
Absolutely. And also in a small company, the pace of growth or the exponential growth what you generally expect is faster.
Absolutely. Sure.
No, so this is the classic problem of startups versus large companies, and people would generally think that jobs are more stable, you get better salaries, and you have more opportunities in a large company.
Exactly.
Just as much as you have to satisfy your customers, I think satisfying your team members and employees is as important, if not more, if you're working in an area which requires a high level of skills. And startups have been able to attract the best of talent by really creating an environment and experience for their employees in their organization.
Fair enough, gentlemen. Thank you as always for being with us here tonight. Take a break. When we come back on Small Giants tonight, we're bringing you the story of Mumbai coworking and Orange Lane. Do stay tuned. Welcome back with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow, and tonight we're bringing you the story of Mumbai coworking and Orange Lane on our Small Giants segment. With a dynamic MSME environment, it is not surprising that the way companies operate is also changing. From working out of cafes to collaborative spaces, the need for shared office space is on the rise. Mumbai coworking in this scenario is helping Mumbai-based startups and MSMEs work in a quirky yet flexible environment. Shubhangi Sinha has the story.
I would like to work in a place where I can take breaks whenever I want, for whatever I want.
I'm a workaholic. Okay, so I like my work environment having an ambitious vibe.
I like to start my day early.
I'm not at all a morning person.
I feel fresh, with a fresh mind I can easily approach my clients.
Come on, good afternoon is a good morning.
All the world's a stage, Shakespeare once said. But who knew everyone wanted a different looking stage, or in this case, a different looking desk. In a constantly growing working body of millennials, finding an office space to satiate their many needs could be taxing for a company, and especially so for an MSME in India. Creating a flexible work environment for MSMEs, startups and entrepreneurs is the company Mumbai Coworking. Founded by Waqar Azmi in 2016, this Mumbai-based co-working space is home to many a dreamers.
Waqar, we live in an increasingly collaborative world, and this is of course seeped into office spaces as well. So what was the inspiration behind starting Mumbai Co-working?
So if you understand, like in a place like Bombay, where real estate, be it residential or commercial, is quite expensive. Now when you go and take up an office of your own, you probably need to pay at least 4-5 months as deposit. Then there is a brokerage that needs to be paid. You need to get into like a 11-month lock-in period. Now when people are starting up, or they are in this whole initial moonlighting phase of a startup, they don't want to commit so much of capital upfront, one. Secondly, they want to probably try it out and see how the venture goes and which direction it works for 2-3 months, and then probably take a decision how they want to move forward. So taking into that consideration, I think that's a huge driving factor. Besides that, I think that there are a lot of people who are working out of home, and I think they want a professional setup. I think a lot of these people, they are looking for opportunities or space where they could probably also collaborate and thrive together and work with other co-workers, like-minded individuals.
Right, so like you were saying, that this is a place where a lot of people can come in and work exactly how they want to. Do you think that it is possible for co-working spaces to maintain the correct balance of quirkiness and also allowing for a space where people can do some serious business?
I'll be honest with you, in our case, the largest company that we would have is about 12 people, which is mainly a casting agency. And then there are much more smaller players, like there are like 3 people, 4 people team. So these are very initial teams, like they themselves are in a co-working space and they're trying to figure out them business and other things. So honestly, they themselves haven't embodied a very strong culture. So they are, in a way, they kind of get mixed into our own culture, the way we've kind of designed the space. And I think people who come here, they like that quirkiness, they like that liveliness, they like the fact that you know, there are colors on the wall, and then, you know, like in a way it kind of lightens them up and they kind of connect with it.
Now talking about the other side of the co-working space, which is itself the design of the space. Now there are a lot of studies which say that you know, you should have some certain ratio of meeting rooms and cubicles. How do you view this, and do you think that this is something which is necessary to keep in mind while opening a co-working space?
Honestly, so there's one factor that at least I look at is what the average cost of the seat. Let's just say in our case it's like about 1,500 bucks. Should only be the 25% of the cost that we sell for. So basically, the number of seats that we create in an office space or whatever space that we take up, it should be, the base cost should be just 25% of the average cost that we sell for. And obviously the fact that it is quirky and it is lively, and you know, to be honest, to design a quirky space, it doesn't take much money, but it requires creativity, which I think we are good at. Yeah.
Right now, how difficult or easy would you say is it for a co-working space business to break even? Because of course the cost of real estate, the cost of the power, etc. comes on the owner. So how difficult or easy is it to break even?
It is not easy. I can tell you there are tons of people who are trying to do co-working or this whole shared office space. I think it requires quite a lot of effort in terms of identifying whom are you targeting, how will you target that. I think marketing is a huge challenge, because let's just be honest, how would you market? It is not a typical B2B corporate sales, nor it's like a typical B2C game, right? So in a way, you need to you need to target a certain very niche kind of people, which are typically your freelancers or small startups or people who are trying to set up office in different regions.
Right, but Waqar, I think there are a lot of co-working spaces which are mushrooming across the city and India as well. So what do you think in that case is your USP, and what really sets Mumbai co-working apart?
I think affordability, the value that we deliver for the cost that we take is amazing. I follow this saying which says, like, you know, price is what you pay, value is what you get, right? So I totally believe in whatever the price that they pay, they need to get more value. So for example, unlike other co-working spaces where they give you coupons for coffee and stuff, we have unlimited coffee and tea, right? We do these bunch of tie-ups and all where there is free food flowing somewhere through some or the other brand that we work with. You know, besides that, the flexibility that we offer, we are not very typical where we'll shut the AC at 6:30 or 7 o'clock, unlike some of the other business centers and stuff. So if somebody wants to work like maybe one night late till about 10, 11, we give them that flexibility. We give them some flexibility in terms of making some payments also, right? I think unlike other co-working spaces, they are very stern about making sure the rental comes on a certain day. So I think affordability, flexibility, the value that we deliver, I think are three most important things which helps us do well in this space.
Right, let's talk about our global peers then. Countries like the US have co-working spaces which are opening dedicated spaces for women workers. Do you think that creating a niche like this could possibly be viable in India?
So honestly, right now it's in a very initial phase. It would be tough to comment, like, you know, to whether you can make a space which is co-working only for women, and I think it's a little regressive also. What I definitely see is this whole co-sharing and co-working kind of concept booming up.
Revolutionizing the concept of office spaces and bringing the importance of community in a workplace to the fore, Mumbai Co-working is ensuring that companies and individuals alike can be at their productive best, irrespective of whether they are early risers or believe in burning the night oil.
Designing and developing your workspace can be a daunting process. In order to ensure that you're getting the very best for your business, celebrity interior designer Shabnam Gupta has opened the doors to Orange Lane in 2003 to bring you a blend of ethnic and contemporary designs, turning walls into pieces of art. Anshua Banerjee gets you the story. Take a look.
At our workplaces, the things that influence us the most, apart from our co-workers of course, is the alternate work styles and the workplace flexibilities, which make the fundamentals for the evolution of modern offices. An amalgamation of modular and contemporary design, workplaces today is inspired by creativity. Despite being born in a family belonging to a multicultural film background, Shabnam Gupta's early years were spent far away from limelight. Creating ambiences that cast a spell, she designed the Orange Lane in 2003 that has emerged as a leading name in the field of interior and architectural design in India. So Shabnam, you belong to a filmy family, yet you decided to become an interior designer. So what was your initial inspiration like? Walk us through that journey.
So we had a very normal upbringing. I think you are part of a creative line, whether it's films or whether it's design or fashion or interiors. The creativity stays. I think just the application changes. So the same way I had an upbringing that was extremely stimulating in terms of the creative arts, a lot of exposure to museums, a lot of nature exposure. So in that sense, I think all of that added to building up where the personality finally led to choosing design.
So do you see startups nowadays tying up with interior designers like you? And do you see this as a way forward for young entrepreneurs?
So definitely design has a huge impact in more ways that we realize. Today, the amount of time that people spend in offices, this workspace has changed drastically. So in that sense, yes, but at the same time, there is this huge wave that is coming up of co-working spaces. So there is that whole environment, like the Facebook offices or the Google offices or the co-working spaces that have come up within the city itself, where there's a lot of intermingling and there is this whole environment of not being a typical workspace. So in that sense, yes, and at the same time, a lot of people choose to work out of co-working spaces, out of choice, but basically design does have a very strong impact in both the spheres.
So since the interior designing industry in Mumbai is so unorganized with places like Crawford and Oshiwara, so how do you strategize pricing your products?
So I think there are two aspects to this. The Oshiwaras and Chor Bazaars and things like that come in more in the retail sphere. But design itself is more than, I think, just picking up furniture and making a place look beautiful. I think design is not only to do with the styling, it's to do with the ergonomic of the way the space will work, it's to do with human psychology, it's to do with the function that space is finally going to don, and how a designer is instrumental in being able to ensure that seamlessness in behavioral patterns.
So you've designed for Bollywood celebrities, franchisees and young entrepreneurs. So what makes them different from each other?
They're completely different in that sense. I think when we design for celebrities or any homeowner, the design is far more personalized. The design is more about the person. It's about getting into their headspace, their lifestyle, the way they are going to live in that space once we are done and out of it. So I think that approach is highly customized. When we are designing for chains like Bar Stock Exchange or the socials or the trendy bars or hotels, it's all about behavioral aspects.
So when it comes to design, there must be a particular sense of style or decor you follow. What is that particular Shabnam Gupta style?
I would like to think that our designs are very free-spirited, and I think we are very adaptable. I'd like to believe that we evolve with every new place that we do. I know that people do walk in and say, hey, that looks like Shabnam's work, and it might be her work, but in our headspace, we are always, as a design studio, trying to do something that we've not done before or trying to better what we've previously done, because I think that's our hunger for design.
So managing and nurturing talent in an industry like yours must be really challenging, especially with the dearth of creative talent in the industry. So how do you manage employee retention?
I think in all industries today, I don't know if it's to do with the next generation, but the retaining aspect is something which you need to work out, in the sense what are the incentives you are giving other than the creatives, and which is very company specific or industry specific. But as far as attracting talent, I think we've been extremely fortunate, because the kind of work the studio does is known for its experimentation in design, it's known for out-of-box thinking, it's known for projects which are extremely exciting and garner enough publicity. So I think a lot of people want to get affiliated with the studio because of that.
So Shabnam, what do the next 5 years look like at Orange Lane, and what are your expansion plans going forward?
Hopefully we'll continue to grow exponentially the way we are. All goes well, we'll get projects in genres which we are still not sure-footed. Hopefully we'll keep getting a mixed bag and exciting work that keeps us on our toes and keeps us learning. I think I would like to describe myself as a learner, someone who is learning to be a better person, learning to grow at work, evolving all the time, and I really hope to remain a learner because there's so much out there.
Whether for celebs from the television industry or corporate hoteliers and businessmen, the Orange Lane has created iconic spaces that reflect their sense of every individual's personality, that are symbols of fine living, and corporate spaces that have become a piece of art for a young at heart.
Completely out of time in this episode of Leaders of Tomorrow. If you have anything you want to say to us, write in on leadersoftomorrow@timesgroup.com. On social media, reach us on LOT_ET now or Sunanda_J is my personal Twitter handle. Also on Facebook, we're at Leaders of Tomorrow and ET Now. If you have any questions you want to leave for us or call us on that number you see on your screen, we love hearing from you. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.